What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Designs. Today, we're going to be working with a table saw. So, without further ado, let's head over there and get set up. Alright guys, so we're at the table saw. Let's start cutting. But, first, we got to find our push stick, and our push block, and our gripper, and safety glasses, and earplugs. And I don't know how big I want this, so we have to find a tape measure as well. So, let's do all that. There's the push stick. There's the push block. There's the gripper. Oh, there's my pencil. All right. Oh, here's the tape measure. Need that. Alright, I think that's everything. Nope, we need safety stuff. So, we need, where's it at? There's my earplugs. Alright, I think that's everything, guys. Alright, guys, so now that we just ran around the shop like a chicken with our head cut off, trying to find our tape measurers, our push sticks, our grippers, our wood, our pencils, and all that other stuff, I now have a better idea on what we're going to build today. Alright guys, so if you're anything like me, you're a weekend woodworker. You don't have time to be looking for tools. You don't have time to be coming out here and continuously cleaning and everything. There's going to be weekends where you just run out of time and you don't put everything back where it goes. So the best thing you can do is be organized. This week we are going to build this here table saw fence box. So what it does is, as you can see, as I move my table, or my fence, the box will move. Oh, there we go. So as I move this, the box is going to move with it. It is attached to my fence. It's not going anywhere, and it slides with it. And everything is in here. I got my gripper, my safety glasses, my hearing protection, my pencil, push sticks, tape measurer. I got a T-square, I got a regular square. Everything you could possibly need to use this tool is in this box, and it is simply just attached to the fence. Alright guys, let's dive into this build. Alright guys, so here we are over at the table saw. I have a 10-inch Performax job site table saw. I absolutely love this saw. It's amazing. You pick them up at Menards. I think it was like 180 bucks. So as you can see, I know the lighting's really bad, but there's a groove down the middle of the fence. I measured it. It's 1/2 inch wide. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut a small strip. We're going to place it in there. That is going to give us a platform to lay another piece on, and then another piece on the side, and then to build our box. The point of the box is it's going to hold, you know, your pencils, your tape measurer, some safety glasses, maybe some earplugs, everything that you need to use this tool safely right at it all the time. It's always going to be there. So let's start by cutting this strip, and we're just going to build up and over from there. Alright guys, now that we have this strip cut, obviously it is way too long. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the miter saw, we're going to cut it down to the size that we want it, and then we're going to come back over here and give it its first test fit. Alright guys, so before we head over to the miter saw, I want to show you guys something. I built this about a year ago, and I did very similar to what we're doing with the table saw fence to the miter saw. If you can see right here, I built just a small spot to put some things in, so it's always going to be there. My safety equipment follows me around the shop, but pencils, tape measures, I get the Performax small tape measures. I think they're like $3 or $4. I have one at every workspace. So this is essentially what we're building onto here. So let's cut this wood. All right, guys, so we're back over here again. I cut it down to 16 inches, and it is spot on where I want it, but it's still just a little too wide. So we're gonna head over to the work table, and we are going to just take a little off the top. All right, guys, let's give it another test. Ooh, we're in. It's not too snug. It has a little bit of movement back and forth. That's what I want. But there is almost no wiggle at all. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go back over to the table saw. Then we're going to start planning how we want the box to come off and sit. All right, guys, so I cut this piece of wood down to 21 inches. That is the length of my fence from behind the lock handle to the end. So this piece is going to run right here, and this will be the start of our box. I already set the table saw to 2 3/8. That is the height of my fence. So we're going to rip this down and make this the same height as the fence. So let's get going. So that was perfect. It is perfectly flush with that fence. Quick disclaimer, if you're going to do this project, do not follow my measurements and lengths unless you have this table saw, because every table saw is going to have a different height fence, going to have a different width. So don't follow my measurements, but you're going to understand where to get the measurements. So just wanted to throw that out there in case somebody tries to do it and theirs comes out way wrong. What we need to do now is we need to decide how we are going to get this piece attached to this piece. I don't know if I want, get in there. I don't know if I want to come like butt it, or if I want to shave this down and come down on top of it. I'm going to do some planning, I'm going to do some thinking, and when I figure that out, I'll get back to you. Had to take a small break, went inside, had some lunch, played around with the kids, thought about this. I was worried that if I put a piece of wood here and then just glued and tack nailed it, it wasn't going to be very sturdy. But then I thought, well, if I cut this to be the same height as the rail, and then I could lay a piece on top and I could tack down, but then you're only looking at having less than, like maybe a quarter of an inch of hole. So what we're going to do is we are going to combine both of those theories, and we are going to cut a piece that is the width of the rail plus this wood, and it's going to run here. And then we're going to cut a piece of wood that is the width of this piece of wood, this rail, and this piece of wood to go over the top. That way we will have glue and tack nails from this way and this way onto all pieces of wood glued together. And that will provide us with a very sturdy piece, because I want this to last. Plus, it's also going to be able to come out of this track, flip around, and be used on the other side. So we are going to cut 2 strips of wood, one that is this measurement and one that is this measurement. So here's where we were. Here's our track, and here is the front of the wall. So now we have this piece, fits perfect, flat, flush, all happy. Okay. Then we have this piece. So essentially what we just did was we will be able to glue and tack that, glue and tack this to this, and then glue and tack this to all of it. And that will give us a very sturdy surface to now build out our box on. Alright, so now that everything's cut, we are back over at the work table. We're going to assemble the rail part with the top pieces down to the fence. We're going to call it a fence wall. So, for the sake of dry time, guys, being that it is now like 6 degrees outside, we are going to get some nailing done. So now we have this. Fits on here perfectly. It can be spun and flipped very easily. Now, this part here is going to be what we build out our box, however big we want it, whatever size, doesn't matter. But this is what we're going to build off of. So this is going to sit on here like that, and your box is going to come off here like that. So it's always going to be with your fence. It'll be able to ride with your fence, and it's attached. Throw this piece on top. This is just a decorative piece, honestly, just because I don't like the seam. So we're going to throw that down on top. So we're just going to cover up the seams over here, just like that. I'm not going to put nails in it because I do like the way the wood grain on this one looks, and I'm probably going to burn this when it's all said and done to give it a decorative look. So I'm just going to take some clamps here. We're going to throw some clamps on it. Not sure how long it's going to take to dry in this weather, but I'm in no hurry. Alright, so there's that. So, this is completely done as far as it goes here, except for we're going to clean up this face. Once the glue dries, we'll probably come back with a flush bit or whatever. What we need to do now is we need to build the box that this is going to come in contact, or that's going to attach to this. So we are going to head back over to the miter saw and start cutting for what we need that to be. Alright guys, so all this stuff you see on top of my table saw right now, this is typically what I have usually sitting on it. I always have to move it off when I want to cut something, and I got to put it somewhere where I know I can grab it real quick while I'm working over here. Essentially, that's why we're building this box. So we have, technically, because of the face that's drying behind me, we have 21 inches long that we can make this box. You don't necessarily have to make it that long. You can just make it a little pencil holder and a push stick holder if you want to. For me, what I'm going to do is, because the micro jig pretty much replaces these two things here, we don't need those. My square goes pretty much everywhere with me, so we don't really need that. Hearing protection, tape measure, and a pencil. So we are going to make a box that will seat these comfortably in it, and it will ride along our fence. So when we adjust our fence, we pull the tape measure out, we check it, yep, good, make our line, put it back in the box, micro jig right there. Everything's always going to be with your table saw, no matter where it's at. Because during the summer, when it's not 6 degrees outside and snowing like a son of a bitch, I open up the garage door and all my saws are out on the driveway while I'm working. I usually don't do any cutting in the garage. Once it starts getting colder, I start bringing things in, and sometimes I'll open the door up and I'll do it to where the dust goes out, but there's like a 3-foot snowdrift up against my door, my garage door, and I can't open it, and there's about a 2.5-foot snowdrift up against this door right here behind the fridge, and I have to climb over that to get into the garage. So opening the doors right now for the sake of cutting is completely out of the question. So what we need to do now is figure out how we want these laid out in our box and then build our box. First things first, I never recommend using the top of your table saw to do any work on. Not only is it extremely dangerous, but you could potentially damage your table saw. My blade is all the way down and there's no power to this right now. So we are, for the most part, safe. So what we're gonna do is we're just going to lay these out like that. We're going to grab our other tape measure and we're just going to give a rough idea measurement. So with all this stuff laid out, I'm seeing 9 inches would do, but we're going to extend it. I'm going to make it 10 and make an imaginary line there. We're going to do a 10 by 12 box. That'll give me a little extra room in case I want to throw something else in there. I know you should be seeing safety glasses here, but I typically put them on my head and wear them all around the shop. But there will be safety glasses in here probably as well. So yeah, we're gonna make a 10 by 12 box. So we're gonna head to the miter saw now. So for the box, we're just gonna keep going with the scrap wood that I got. Ooh, look at that, that's 21. So we'll do both sides of our 10 out of that. Stuff, man. That's why we have to be organized. Alright guys, now that everything's been cut, we are back at the table. I did have to go make a couple minor adjustments. I don't know if I'm cold and I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing, but I cut this to be a perfect 10 by 14, but I also cut these at 10 and 14, and you can't make a box that way. So I had to go back and make it, I kept it at 10 by 11, because these are half-inch pieces, that's right. So we are going to assemble the box, and we're going to put the box on the fence. So let's get it going. Alright, so clearly you can see stuff has happened. I got 2 sides on the box, and I started the camera, but I guess it's so cold out here that not only do I want to not be out here, but so does my phone. So yes, we have 2 sides of the box glued up and nailed. We are putting the 3rd side on now. Maybe. I have an entire gallon of Tight Bond glue frozen because I forgot to take it in. Does anybody know if that's okay? Will it unthaw and still work well? If you happen to know, can you tell me in the comments? Because I'm a little bit worried about it right now. Woohoo! No misses. You don't want to see the other side though. Boy, did we miss. Good enough for now. So there it is, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our guide and boom, just like that. I don't think this is dry enough to actually pull it apart and start looking at it, but all in all, you can fit a lot of stuff in there. This will move with our fence. So what we need to do now is attach it to this guide. So what we're going to do is we're going to spin this bad boy around. And I know some people are probably saying, man, that's awfully bulky. Again, I'm making this to my needs, to my saw. You don't have to make yours a big 10 by 14 box. You can make a little one. I've seen some people where they just do a little tiny one that just hangs off the side and it holds like a pencil or maybe a couple pencils. I've seen ones that are the full length of the fence and like 2 feet long, and they put scrap wood and all sorts of other stuff in there. I went with what would hold my micro jig, my safety glasses, my earplugs, some pencils, my tape measure, and maybe whatever else I'm bringing over to the project that I might have to throw to the side. And so far, I'm really liking it. I can't wait to get it all glued up together and test it out. So let's get this thing attached. I'm not 100% sure how we're going to do that yet, but we're going to figure it out right now. So I'm not 100% sure what happened there at the end. I lost a little bit of footage, and rather than sitting here and refilming it and whatever, we're just going to keep moving. So the sled is done, and it is awesome. It is on the table saw right here behind me. So this build was a lot of fun, except for the fact that it is single digits freezing, and the snow pile outside of both doors has grown significantly. When I started this video today, it was about 10 o'clock in the morning. It is now 6 o'clock at night, and this build should have taken me about 45 minutes maybe. But from getting cold, running inside, warming up, having a cup of coffee, coming back out here, it has taken that long. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you guys over to the table saw. We're going to put everything in the box. We're going to slide it back and forth, see how it holds up. And then we'll come back over here. We'll talk about it a little more, and then we'll run through the typical ending shenanigans of the do this and do that. So let's head back over to the table saw and check it out. All right, guys. So now that we're back over to the table saw real quick, I just want to show you guys how it all came together. Here is the box. I put all the stuff in it already. And again, it just sits on there, and you can move the fence, and the box comes with it. I like it a lot. It slides really nice. Fits on there really well. It's not wobbly or unstable. Everything's in here. Tape measure, gripper, hearing and eye protection, push sticks, pencils. It's all going to be there. So anytime you come out here to do something really quick, you're not going to be looking around for anything. It's right here all the time. I like it a lot. It was really easy build. Again, if you guys want to make something like this, I highly encourage you to do so. It is wonderful. It was really easy to do, and it's 100% customizable. But take a few minutes like I did before I started doing this video. I sat down and I thought, what is everything that I need? What do I want in this box? And like I showed you guys over at the miter saw, I have a little one there. It's just got a pencil and tape measure in it. Because like I said, typically my safety glasses are on my head. I have different hearing protection for different things that I use. I use like these ones by 3M. They're a little more heavy duty. I use those when I'm running the table saw or the planer. But if I'm doing something at the scroll saw, typically I just got my earbuds in. If I'm sanding, again, the same thing, earbuds. So I'm not always carrying around hearing protection because I have like the disposable ones that are around here all over too. But think about what you need one of these for, and then design it to your needs. I'm not going to finish it today because it is so cold that I think that paint and stuff won't really stick well. So on another day, I'm going to sand it down a little more and probably either paint it or something else. I was also thinking about on the bottom side, probably putting maybe like a piece of scrap felt or even like a chunk of old t-shirt or something just to keep from the wood constantly rubbing the surface of the table. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, hit the subscribe button down here, and I'll link either some quick tips or a build over here. I appreciate it, guys. It's freezing cold. I'm done. I'm out of here. But you guys get to work.